Hey guys, welcome back to Coin Engineers. Today we're going to talk about how to create a solid business model for success. I'm personally learning and improving every single day, and over the years, the only conclusion I kept coming into at every failure is that the key to success in this market is having a solid plan. That's why I created this business model. It's a framework for making smart decisions in the market, whether you're trading or investing. I want to also automate some of these processes, so I'll cover things like AI agents and AI trading tools on how to use them in my future videos as well. We'll even explore how to automate parts of this model with AI so you can leverage its power to your advantage. Alright, now let's get down to business. You're going to build a business model for your trading. First things first, you're going to structure your accounts like a pyramid. Pyramids are strong. They've been around for centuries and can withstand earthquakes and all sorts of crazy stuff. And that's exactly what you want for your portfolio. A solid foundation that can handle anything the market throws at, except maybe the Great Depression. You're going to have different levels. At the top, high risk, high reward stuff. So think like meme coins, high number trades. But the important thing is we're going to keep this section small because it's risky. Kind of like trying to pet a tiger because it's high risk, high reward. It's cute and got a nice hat, but you might lose a hand. As you move down the pyramid, we get to the more stable stuff. Blue chip coins, spot trades, long-term investments. This is the foundation of your portfolio. So we're going to allocate a larger portion of your funds here. Remember, the market can be volatile. Think of it like an earthquake. When those earthquakes hit, you don't want your whole portfolio to crumble. That's why we have a strong foundation. We are also going to make sure that each of our accounts has a specific purpose. This is all about organization and focus. Each account has a job to do. So to recap, pyramid structure, different levels of risk, and a clear purpose for each account. That's going to be the foundation of our business model. Now let's visualize this system. Before we actually start building this thing, let's take a step back and close our eyes for a second. Imagine a pyramid. A big, strong pyramid, like the ones in Egypt. Those things have been standing for thousands of years. That's because they have a solid base, a strong foundation, and that's what we're going to build for your portfolio today. A strong foundation that can withstand anything. Now, open your eyes. It's all about having a clear picture in your mind. Visualize your business model, see it in your mind, because when you can see it, you can build it. So I'm going to make this easy for you. I'll create separate videos for different budgets in the future videos. So whether you're starting with a little or a lot, I'll show you personally how I will handle each portfolio level, since smaller portfolios generally requires more risk. I'll show you exactly how I will allocate my portfolio in those videos, and I'll explain my reasoning every step of the way. Now guys, remember, I'm not a financial advisor. This is just for educational purposes. I'm showing you how to build your own business model and portfolio to help you with examples, not telling you what to do with your money. You are in charge. Okay, so we have talked about the pyramid structure, different risk levels, and all of that good stuff. But there's more to it than that. Your business model needs to meet the principles or plan. Let's talk about each of these items. The first one is your pool, which is your treasury. This is basically like your safety net, your emergency fund. So think of it like a company's treasury. It's the money they keep on hand to cover expenses and unexpected costs. Or maybe that emergency stash of chocolate you keep hidden from the kids. But unlike that chocolate, this treasury is meant to grow, not disappear. In your trading business, your expenses are your living costs, your lifestyle, and the money you need to keep trading. Now, how much should you put in your treasury? Well, it depends. A good starting point is usually 30% of your fund portfolio, but it really depends on your risk tolerance and your goals. The key is to be flexible, so your treasury needs to adapt to the market conditions. Sometimes it might be 10% and sometimes it might be 70%. It all really depends. The goal is to grow your treasury over time. You want it to increase in dollar terms, not just percentages. Because as your treasury grows, you have more flexibility. You can take more risks, knowing that you have a safety net to fall back on. Okay, so we have talked about the importance of a treasury, how much to allocate and all that, but here's the key takeaway. Document everything. Keep track of your treasury's growth, adjust your allocation as needed, and most importantly, use it wisely. Your treasury is your lifeline in this market. Don't let it go to waste. Now let's talk about liability. This is where things get interesting. We're going to explore how we can use borrowed funds strategically here, just like real businesses do. Instead of dipping into your treasury or selling off your assets, you can actually borrow against them using DeFi applications. That's decentralized finance for those of you who like the full name. Now, before we get into the specifics of DeFi, let's make sure you're prepared. First, figure out which accounts you want to use these DeFi applications with. Then do your homework. Learn how these platforms work with lending and borrowing. For example, let's say you got some ETH sitting in your trading account. Instead of selling it to buy another coin, you could borrow against it. This way, you keep your ETH and get to play with a new asset. Two birds, one stone. Now, here's the thing. Always have a clear reason for borrowing. Don't just borrow for the sake of borrowing. That's like buying a Ferrari just to drive it to the grocery store. And here's a friendly reminder, guys. Don't go overboard with borrowing. Over-leveraging is risky. It's like building a house of cards on a windy day. One wrong move, and here is the cool part. Some DeFi platforms actually give you rewards for lending and borrowing. It's like getting paid to play. Platforms like Camino and Suiland offer airdrop points, which you can use to get free tokens. And I'm not talking about small numbers here either. Last year, I made over $100,000 from airdrops alone by strategically picking the right places for my crypto needs. Remember, your system should be a money-making machine. So either pick high-yield DeFi applications to maximize your returns, or platforms with airdrop promises, like planting a money tree in your backyard. I'll also put a list of good DeFi applications in the description below, but don't just take my word for it, do your own research and find what works for you. Now let's break down the different types of liability. So first you got lending and borrowing. This is like lending your loan over to your neighbor and getting paid for it. Except instead of a loan over, it's your crypto, and there are a lot of lending and borrowing protocols specific to each chain. Then we got yield pools. These are like group projects where everyone chips in and shares the rewards. But instead of a school project, again, it's your crypto. Next, we got exchange trading leverage. This is like borrowing your friend's fancy car for a road trip. Except instead of a car, it's money you're borrowing from the LP, which is the liquidity provider. In return, you pay trading fees and borrowing fees, which is extremely high risk and not an investment strategy. Then lastly, we have staking leverage. This is like putting your money in a high-yield savings account, but with a bit more risk and excitement. For now, let's stick to lending and borrowing on spot. Let's not try doing a wheelie before we learn how to ride a bike. Later on, I will show you how to use these DeFi applications safely and effectively. For now, focus on picking the good ones, considering things like airdrop points and high yields. I will put links for my recommendations on the video description. Next, we have our assets. These are basically our belongings, our tokens, our shares, our valuable items or property. The good thing is that slowly all asset classes are being applied into crypto. This is because the blockchain is a technology for automating the transaction of financial assets. It's mostly focused on being decentralized, which means it's not owned by a single entity. This enforces democracy amongst the network of holders for this asset. For instance, imagine buying your new car from Carvana as an NFT. The NFT is the digital title of your car. To make the purchase and get a loan, you don't have to go through a branch representative and hours of paperwork. There can be smart contracts in place where transactions can be seamless, along with the ownership of the title. Our information will already be stored somewhere in the blockchain. You can have ownership of our information and allow access to it at will. This is different from the way it works now in a centralized manner where giant companies have access to all their servery. However, keep in mind some projects in crypto can still be centralized, like BNB Binance. When it comes to assets, it's important to make proper research and to have a percentage allocation for your assets. You should also understand your budget and not spread yourself too thin on assets if you don't have much to begin with. Lastly, make sure that you put the bigger portion of your portfolio into more established and less risky assets, which we call blue chips here in crypto. Now, here is a little insider tip. Not all blue chips are created equal. Some have better track records, stronger communities, and more innovative technology. Do your homework. Don't just blindly throw your money at any altcoin because someone on Twitter told you to do so. To help you out, I'll provide a list of criteria for identifying a solid blue chip project. Now I'll also give you a percentage system for allocating your assets. This way you can build a diversified portfolio that's tailored to your specific goals and risk tolerance. For example, if you decide to put 30% of your capital into your treasury, you can then divide the remaining 70% among your assets using a pyramid approach. The assets with the bigger margins and spot accounts shall occupy a larger portion of your portfolio. As the risk increases, you reduce the allocation accordingly. Okay, now for your actionable item, take some time to research different blue chip projects. Look into their technology, their team, their community, and their overall track record. Then decide how you want to allocate your assets using the pyramid approach we discussed. To help you visualize this, I'll include an example Excel sheet in the description below. You can use this as a template to fill out your own assets and percentages. And remember, a well-diversified portfolio is key to long-term success in the crypto market. And lastly guys, we have nets. This is where we bring the entire system together to make our own business model profitable and make sure we're continuously netting a positive P&L over time. This is how businesses operate to ensure they keep their investors interested. So for this last part to work effectively, you need to make sure that you have identified all your accounts. So first, you got your pool and treasury account, and then you got your liability accounts where you will be borrowing from while earning income through yield and airdrops, as well as any accounts you use for leverage if you choose to do so. However, please keep in mind that you're going to add this to the equation later in the video. So if you choose to use any leverage accounts, make sure to use a small margin. And then we got our assets. This can be the same accounts as your liability ones. The important thing is to separate out your pool from your assets and your liabilities. It's very crucial to also take advantage of airdrops for both your pool and your assets and liability accounts. So try and target applications where you can collect points for potential airdrops and earn yields at the same time. In order to net a profitable outcome, we need to make sure our system is flawless, which means categorizing every account for a specific purpose and time-bound depending on its purpose. That way, it's easier for us to have many accounts and easily keep track of our nets. Later, we will find useful trading tools and AI agents to help us automate some of the manual processes of trading to take off the emotions. And when I say trading tools and AI agents, I'm talking about things like AI signals and trading strategies, which we can build pine spread with and automate our trading. Basically, we want to find the best ways to make money in this market and feed our treasury over time. This way we can have many accounts, each for a specific purpose, and still be able to keep them easily under control with a proper system. So before I give you guys this system, I want to make sure you like and subscribe in this video. It has taken me so much time and effort to bring this system to perfection. I'm not asking for much in return guys, other than knowing that others are finding this content useful, and I want to keep providing you guys value as well as my thought. Okay, so let's map this out visually. We'll start with our main category, assets. Now we'll divide our assets into two main categories, investing and trading. Under trading, we will have two subcategories, mid-risk and high-risk accounts. Now, let's break down each of these subcategories further. For example, under low-risk investing, we might have things like lending in reputable DeFi platforms and holding blue-chip assets for the long term like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and some of the others. Under mid-risk investing, we could include strategies like yield farming, providing liquidity to DeFi protocols, and investing in emerging projects with solid fundamentals, and so on. Now, this is just the basic framework. You can always add more details and customize it later, but for now, this gives you a good visual overview of how to organize your accounts and allocate your assets based on your risk tolerance and investment goals. Now, that's it for today's video, guys. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, be sure to like and subscribe for more content like this. And don't forget to leave a comment below letting me know what you think of this system. I'm always looking for feedback and suggestions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.